give me the 3, 2, 1. And then...
Hello everyone, as we're getting ready for our top 8, we are happy that we managed to set up the top 8 game that we did want it. So we will have Mario Barbera versus Masato Shinada.
Shimada, yes.
Shimada, oh yes,
I
sorry.
know it's not our our language for neither of us, and obviously it's amazing to see these people coming two ends of the world, Italy against Japan. It's gonna be a very good matchup, I think.
Yeah, and it will be the welder box that we talked about, and versus Malama Mewtwo. But both lists, like looking at them, they are just all over the place, really.
Indeed. They're playing everything. I don't know how they fit all those
Yeah,
cards into
it's
their
like
lists.
so the first noticeable thing is that Masato, of course, we put him as well as Ninetales Reshizard on our top 8 graphic at first because we were like, hey, welder box, that's what it is. But nope, apparently he does not play any Reshiram Charizard tag team. He's just going for 2 Heatran GX, and then he has like Blacephalon GX in there, he has Cramorant V in there, he has Oricorio GX, so
Yeah,
Victini,
it looks
yeah,
like a
Victini
baby
V, Victini Prism.
Blacephalon box,
Yeah,
really, but
just without being
just
able
with bigger
to
Pokemons.
Yeah, so this is quite well. It's a welder box, that's for sure.
It is a welder box. We can define it as that. But then when you look also on the other side, we look at Mario, and his list is also very interesting. He just plays
Yeah.
one single copy of the Metal Energy, of basic Metal Energy, and then he plays one Ultra Necrozma.
Yeah,
And
he
the rest is
does.
just psychic
Yeah,
attackers.
and he does play a lot of attackers. He plays the Solgaleo and Lunala GX tag team. He plays Trevin and Dusknoir basically probably as his main attacker, but he also has the Venom Shot Neganadel. He has the Stinger Neganadel. He does play the new Oranguru from the new
The
Oranguru.
Primat Wisdom one.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting addition to the deck as well. Not a very common one, and yeah, it's just a lot of 1 and 2 of Pokemon. He plays 2 Inkay only, but he plays 3 Malama. It's the highest count of Pokemon that he has. Yeah,
Just very interesting. He plays a single copy of the Ditto, but I mean, he could evolve into the Ditto into the Naganados. That's the positive thing about playing that Ditto over an Inkay. But still, it's scary because you can be blocked by Wobbuffet, for example, which we know some stall players do play. And especially if they see in their list that you play only 2 Inkays, they might put it down at the beginning of the game.
yeah. It looks like this list is really tagged out. So I guess Vedito gives him an out to. Vedito gives him an out to Obstagoon, of course, because he needs to evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he needs to evolve it into a Neganadel, and then he can use Venom Shot to get to take a knockout on obstacles as well. So that's a lot of outs, and yeah, he has a lot of attackers, but of course that might hurt his consistency a bit. For example, he could only fit 3 Mysterious Treasure. So maybe if Masato, he has a very aggressive welder deck and he has Ninetales, so if he can go for a really explosive start, get an early Ninetales and start targeting those Malamas with his Heatran, then that might be a way for him to steal a game.
Indeed. I think the aggression is really the key for the welder box to win this matchup, because otherwise, I don't think there's a really way when that Mewtwo deck is set up. Obviously, you have the possibility to one-shot it, but just by the fact that any welder deck is so reliant on the cards it has in its hand, it's very hard for you to keep up once the opponent keeps spamming that Night Watch attack.
Yeah, exactly, especially since Masato is focusing on Heatran as more or less his main attacker, and that has a huge amount of retreat. I think for a retreat cost of 4, so if that's active and he gets hit with a Mani Nightwatch combination, can easily get stuck there and not be able to do relevant damage. And interesting thing as well is that there's no Gust for Mario. So
Exactly. He just relies a lot on that sniping ability.
Exactly.
Otherwise, he has that Blacephalon from Cosmic Eclipse available.
Yeah, so he
one.
definitely doesn't want to lose against Mill because he's also playing with Stinger Neganadel, so perfectly
Exactly.
prepared for that. Yeah, he.
So actually, props to him. He seems one of the person that you predicted that teched out against the against Mill, which seemed to be the most frustrating deck to go against. So
Yeah.
definitely a deck well tinkered to beat that.
Yeah.
In any case, I think this matchup is sort of 50-50. It really depends on
Yeah,
how
for
fast
sure.
the welter box starts.
And yeah, also he's playing two reset stamp, so it looks like he's not playing a super aggressive version, but instead, yeah, so he doesn't go for gust, etc. He has a lot of text, so I guess he has game plans for
Hmm.
all kinds of different matchups, and then he can just adapt to them, get his right game plan, and even if he falls behind, he has the option to use reset stamp to put his opponent at 0 cards in hand, which can be extremely powerful in the late game.
Yeah, we saw before when he was featured on stream, he lost. However, in the late game, he was almost able to lock out the opponent's hand, and I think that's what his deck is trying to do. We see that he plays for Mary's, for Marnie and 2 reset stamps, so he's really trying to control the opponent's hand. Because a lot of decks today don't have any on-board draw abilities. They just have maybe the Oranguru, they have Zacian, but Zacian stops their turn. So overall, I really like the way that this deck is centered around Trevenant and Dastmar.
Yeah, for sure. It's by far his main attacker. Also, as consistency line, he does play one tag call and he does play one Cynthia Catlin. So, to add to his core engine of my professor's research, he didn't want to include any other supporters. We've seen Yu Ito, for example, play Cynthia as well, or we've seen other players with Poker Gear. But Mario just decided to go with Cynthia Catlin and just recover the good supporters he wants to use to be able to, yeah, draw, use them as often as possible. Oh, and
Oh,
also, by the way, big shout out to Make Love Not War Turtle for donating the 2,500, I think it was, or was it 25,000? No, I think it was 2,500 bits. Anyways, big donation from Make Love No War Turtle. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah, 2,500 bits. He already donated quite a lot of bits during our last qualifier, so thanks a lot for the support. It means a lot. Yeah.
thank you very
And
much
yeah,
for everybody watching at home, and thank you for the patience. We're still waiting on the players. I think there are some issues with Smash.gg,
yeah, the bracket
but
should be uploaded there. Let me check if players already got into their games. Nope, it looks like they are still taking their time. Of course, they already had to play through a pretty long day, so they probably want to refresh themselves properly and make sure that they can play their best.
we remember also that for the Japanese people who are 6-7 hours ahead, I think, for them it's the middle of the night. So they're playing,
Yes.
they're staying up late to play and to have the chance to take down this tournament. And actually, it is possible that we might have a fully Japanese final if Shintaro is able to grind through the other bracket. See, in our bracket, we have 3 Japanese people.
Yeah, so
Mario could be able to defeat them all.
yeah, Mario, the sole European in the top 8, and he's going up against 3 Japanese players in his side of the bracket, so he will have a really tough time. But we will see if he can get through. And yeah, now it looks like on Smash GG the bracket started as well. So now people should be able to, so now people should be able to check in. So they
And should be able to do it, yes.
yeah, so now they should be able to add themselves very shortly. Looks like there was a little mistake on our side that created some hold up from Smash. However, yeah, now everything should be good to go. And we are just waiting for both our players to get into the game and to finally start the action going. And afterwards, there will be no breaks anymore, so don't worry, guys. This time.
Thank you for the patience, of course. But please also understand that there is a lot of work behind this whole streaming process, and as well the tournament organizing. There are very few people behind, so very, very, very much thank you to all the people that are behind this.
Yep, and Mario's now already in his Smash in his game, looking out for his opponent to join as well. And yeah, any minute now. And for top 8, of course, we're playing best of 3 and 60 minutes, so a donk or a brick will not be an issue, not the game decider. But I think over the weekend we didn't have that many donks. We had,
We had a few, but there
yeah,
weren't many for sure. Like, it wasn't the main reason why people lost.
yeah, we had one really quick game of Oven where he turned in, and the next turn he had already won.
Yep.
And yeah, I was talking a bit with him, and he said, yeah, the game took like 3-4 turns in total anyway, so it was,
It was fine. It was fine. It was
yeah,
when ADP.
he
It's
just went.
it's the biggest thing. The games always last like 3 turns, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
Mehmet by
honestly, right
ADP.
now that we are in top 8, we might even see how these decks that have done so well in best of 1 pair up in a best of 3 match, because we saw in the past that Mewtwo Malamar did not do so well in like in real life, in real tournaments.
Yeah,
Maybe was it
that is.
because of the best of 3, because sometimes it didn't set up? What do you say?
I don't know. I think it's maybe that just Western players didn't figure out the deck by now, because it was always one of the top tier decks at Japanese tournaments. And yeah, we now have some Japanese players that did really well with it in our qualifiers as well. So I guess it might be just the Japanese players are very familiar with the deck and know how to use it to its full potential. And Western players maybe still had to catch up a bit on that.
It's gonna
Um,
be tough for both players, I think. The matchup is we talked about it before. It's not easy.
yeah.
So hopefully they're still both in good shape to play this matchup. I would
Yeah,
say.
I feel a big difference in the Malama muted deck is that early on people went for. They thought that this deck is all about getting the turn 1 Horror House and then following up with Mani and into a Night Watch. So Todd, I've been talking with him, and for example, he even went as far as cutting Professor's research for playing for Judge and for Mani because he was so focused on that combination. And yeah,
Indeed.
I think that might just have been the wrong approach. Nowadays, we see people go for more different supporters, adding Pokegear, Cynthia Catlin to have more draw in their deck, and just going for versatile attackers. And now Mario, I think, is the best example for this. He plays like every attacker I could think of for this deck.
He doesn't play Aurora Energy at least, so his range of
Yeah,
attackers was luckily
true,
reduced, because I'm
true.
pretty sure he would have played them all.
Yeah, he cannot attack with. He can also not attack with his Tidenne. Nico, who went 55 and managed to get 10th, I heard from him that he attacked with Tingly Return GX in this tournament on accident, but still won that game. So yeah, this deck is crazy in its versatility.
So yeah, definitely Mito Malamar looking out to be scary, and I'm wondering if in the next meta we could see some play from it. We're finally seeing, by the way, the players they're
Yep,
sending each other the requests.
yep, and they're also in Smash. They have created the game lobby. They are ready to go. Oh yeah, they are asking. So
Oh yes, okay. So scratch that question. Let's just focus on the game.
yeah,
And yes, we're looking. They're selecting their decks.
so we are jumping. Yes, so we are jumping over to their tournament screen. And I'm.
So yeah, this is the top 8 match, 4th to 5th seed. We have on one side from Italy, Mario Barbera playing against Masato Shimada from Japan. Mario is piloting that Mewtwo and Malamar deck, while Masato is piloting that Welder Box deck that we see a lot actually in this weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, we start with the coin flip. Let's see who goes first. Zekro decides to go first, wins the coin flip. Excellent start for the Malamar deck. Yeah, we start with a Jirachi from Misato. His hand looking full of useful cards. 2 Welders, just needs a basic to attach these energies with. So Philip, what do you think about a Welder deck going second? Is it better to go first or to go second when you're piloting a Welder box?
With yeah, it's always hard to say. If you're going second, that means of course that you can attack in your first turn, and Yeah, that you can get a welder right away, but if you go second, you have a bit more time. However, now that you aren't able to play a supporter turn 1, I think for something like welder box, you're usually pretty fine with going second. The
Hmm.
only advantage of going first is when you're facing opponent that can't do much in his first turn anyways, when you don't really care about it, and when you can maybe get an extra Stellar Wish or something to guarantee yourself what you
Exactly.
need.
So there's the start from Mario looking pretty solid overall. Already has a Mewtwo in the bench on Inkay, and the Mewtwo already has an energy. He wasn't able to play supporter, obviously, because that was his first turn. However, if he might be able already in turn 2 to attack maybe a Horror House GX to make the opponent lose a turn. Or literally anything is looking very, very fine for Zekro at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Great
Victini.
setup here. Going for the Victinia's earlier tracker. Interesting choice, but definitely a solid one. For on
Mhm.
the one hand, he already got a couple of energies in the discard pile, so he can use Victini's first attack to charge them back to the board. And of course, once it gets like about 6 energies, it can one-shot Mewtwo that uses Night Watch, so that can be really good as well.
Exactly. He even he could go even for the setup option. We see him attaching energy to the Jirachi. This could mean that he just retreats into the Victini, uses the first attack, and spreading flames. I think it's I believe it's called. And then he sets himself up. So already you could have 6 energies on the board on turn 1. So
Yeah,
let's see what
so
he goes for here. Size 2 for the Stellar Wish. Oh, that's a huge miss actually.
yeah,
He sees
nothing there,
5 cards.
but still a very reasonable hand.
Oh
No need to
yes.
go for
Welder
much
two
more than that.
energies.
Yeah, and just using the spreading flames probably here to accelerate
Yep.
some more energies, and yeah, that's already a great start. Not the dream start of just having 6 energies turn 1, but also extremely well. And now opting, yeah, I think there's not too much reason to not go for the Victini. Of course, he does play Turtonator, so spreading the energies a bit to save them for Turtonator might be valuable, but yeah, okay, I guess that's what he's going for. I was gonna say, just attaching them to the Victini to threaten a one-shot is also valuable. As said, it depends on what you value
Exactly.
more.
He also has that welder with 2 energies in hand. He also has access to the giant Heartfist if it sticks around. So I'm pretty sure overall he will be able to fetch up enough damage with that Victini. He does 30 times. Let's remember he does 30 damage for each Pokemon. But wow, Mario actually just passes.
Ooh, and I was afraid of seeing this, the consistency issue of Maulama decks, as he's getting set back quite a bit, and this means that that Masato can now take the first knockout, can just accelerate 3 energies to the active and take a knockout, and afterwards he's also threatening to immediately knock out a Mewtwo when it hits the board. And
This is a heat run.
yeah,
6 energies now. This Victini is gonna hit hard and is gonna hit fast.
yeah, opting to bench the Heatran. Of course, Masato knows that Mario doesn't play any gusting effect, so there's no real punishment to that. Otherwise, it might be a risky choice because you could get something like a great catcher on it, and then yeah, and then Mario could have used that to come back into the game by sticking it active and maybe sniping something like the Jirachi.
We see here Mario once again using the giant heart to discarding neutral Necrosis. So probably his end is just a lot of Pokemons, and that's a bit the downside of playing 20 Pokemons in his deck. Obviously, Mewtwo Malamar requires a lot of different attackers to be fully efficient. But there we go. There's a burning road from the Heatran Jack, so you can finally replace those energies that were put onto the Dena and the Jirachi and hit for 130 while saving up the Victini, who could just one-shot the Mewtwo and Mew once it becomes active.
Yeah, so amazing. Also, he can of course also use Switch to get even more energies in Heatran and then use the Burning Magma, the Hot Burn GX for the knockout. And yeah, I think this is a commanding position for Masato in this first game, and it will be extremely hard for Mario to come back from this.
Just as hypotized, I think he just has Pokemon in his hand right now. He doesn't even have energies he would have attached to. Wow, it really sucks here for Mario.
Yeah, if he had
If
had...
his next turn, he's just gonna have the knockout, right?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, he does have everything in hand, so unless there's a Horror House or Marnie or Research Stamp coming from Mario's side, that's gonna be the game next turn.
Mario could as well try to use the Clear Vision GX, but that would just save him one turn. And from there onwards, what do you do? So he actually decides for a Horror House GX, that's fair too. That works as well.
Oh, and thanks a lot, Zorro and company, for the 1,000 bits. Very appreciated.
There it is. Burning Stomp, 130. This Mewtwo and Mew is a goner already.
Yeah,
there is no Ninetales actually.
Yeah, the one hope for Mario is that there's no Ninetales currently. But now that his Horror House GX attack was used, there's nothing really he can do. There's no Pale Moon or anything. And that Victini has 6 energies on it, so it will be able to take anything out. And if Mario doesn't take out this Heatran, Masato can just use Switch and use the ability of Heatran once again, move all energies to it, and then it can get up to 10 energies and deal 500 damage, so this Mewtwo won't stand any chance.
Finally, we see a supporter coming from Mario. There it is. The Professor Research is also able to switch into that other Mewtwo new. But does he have a follow-up play from this? He needs to set up. But look at Shimada board. Like it's massive. How do you deal with something like that?
Yeah, I don't see it either. At this point, there's really not much left to do. It's just being 3 prizes behind wouldn't be the end of the world, but if you're 3 prizes behind and have like nothing on your board while your opponent has everything, yeah, that's just nothing you can deal with.
And as well, this Mewtwo Mew cannot stay in the active one more turn. If it's gonna be there, it's gonna be knocked out by this Heatran Hot Burn GX through a double switch. But yeah, I think right now we might be going to a game 2. There is actually a switch.
Yeah, so
now, yeah, very well. You must give props to Mario for predicting the situation in which he could have been knocked out very easily, thanks to that Heatran GX.
Yeah.
Overall, he's like playing with he's just playing with what he has right now, which is not much.
Yep. And yeah, Mario now knows that he can throw up some 1 prizes to win some time, because currently there's no Ninetales on the board for Masato. But yeah, now Masato gets the Vulpix and prepares himself to not leave any option.
Masato doesn't want to have any of it. He just wants to have this game over. He knows he had the better start, and there we go. He's not even using the burning road ability, just setting up that Vulpix in the bench, and eventually will become a Ninetales, which will close out the game. So yeah, it's looking very, very tough here for Mario to close out this game, because he needs to still grind 6 whole prizes. And he has no sniping.
And yeah, Steaming Stomp going down to 2. And
Burning Stomp.
This leaves, I mean, Mario could get the knockout. Nah, he can't get it just now. He's an energy short, so he will have to just stall another turn and hope that Masato isn't able to find his Ninetales, so he will probably have to throw up some other 1 prizer and prepare his Mewtwo to take a knockout with by copying Ultra Necrozma GX, but yeah, that's not
That's an Aganale GX, but it doesn't do anything in this situation. Unfortunately, he already used his GX. That was probably his out to the situation.
Exactly.
But even then, we know that Masato does not play any Reshiram and Charizard.
Yeah, exactly. So a Stinger in this matchup won't be very impactful, especially in this situation where Masato has this Victini with 6 energies on his bench, and it's just sitting there ready to take the knockout. And yep, here we see the game.
There you go.
Moving all the energies. Now, okay, just moving 3 energies.
He's a very considerate man. A very considerate man.
Yeah, no need to deal extra damage. Just going for the safe knockout. And Masato's taking game 1. And the only European player left in this tournament on the verge of getting knocked out.
Come on, Mario. Remember, you have all on your shoulders. There is the whole weight of of Europe. We do have, yes, Japan is on its way apparently to close out this series. At least judging from this match particularly, the Weather Box looked very strong in my opinion. I don't know how the Reshiram and Charizard impacts the overall performance of the deck. But yeah, actually, what do you think about it? The lack of this Reshiram and Charizard.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. It's not something completely out of the ordinary, and we've seen players go for that a while ago already, and just prioritizing those small attackers, small price attackers that can deal immense amounts of damage as well. And yeah, lately with the addition of Victini V as well, I guess the deck's just getting so versatile that it doesn't need the Reshizard anymore. However, Reshizard used to be the most efficient attacker you had, so it was always great. But Masato instead playing Blacephalon GX, which is a very interesting option.
Indeed. And the Persephone GX that he plays is also, we saw it before, it's very efficient to draw the last prize in case you need it. And but especially considering the only other GX that could attack in the deck is that Heatran GX, he probably use it in situation in which he just needs to draw the last final prize. Overall, a very well balanced deck for sure. It's very prepared for this meta. So we know that Mario will go first again, which is excellent for the Malamar player. But this time, he needs to be able to set up, unlike the last game. Yeah, we're just having the two players. He should click no, of course. There might be a language barrier here at stake, so let's just wait for a second.
Okay.
There we go. That sounds good. You need to remember, for these Japanese players that don't speak English on a daily basis, it might be hard even to understand these messages.
Yeah, I was just wondering. That was a bit weird. If it had caused a disadvantage for Masato, we probably would have had to restart the game, since it didn't even start right now.
Yes,
but,
exactly.
Yeah, it seems like, yeah, he was just double checking to make sure if Mario did want to go first. Almost got timed out because of that. Yeah, I hope. I'm not really sure.
So to just double checking once again, I don't think Japanese players are accustomed too much to.
Yeah, I guess. Wait a second. Can it? Yeah, I guess a judge has to interfere with that, probably.
I think we are okay now. There is a bit of uncomfort going on, but a bit of an uncomfortable situation. Sorry, but it's fine now.
Yeah,
so,
it's just
Mario is finally starting. We are in the game, starting with a Blacephalon.
Yeah, it's just that Masato lost about quite some. Quite some time because of that and got timed out right now. So I hope he didn't meant to bench any of those Pokemon. Anyways, hopefully I guess it doesn't matter in the first turn anyways. So yeah.
Yeah, there will be no Marnie shenanigans. We might see a reset stamp, but that would be very awkward if not followed up by another play. So yeah, look at the start once again. Mario having a pretty solid start, similar to last time, but this time let's hope he has a supporter in his end to follow up this play. Last time he had access to a quick ball, if I'm not mistaken, and he chose to not get the Dene out of it, which was a bit threatening, I think, in that situation.
Yeah, this definitely looks like a Dene hand, but he might go for Jirachi as well, since his switch.
He did have all the pieces for Jirachi, but I think the Dene is the safer choice.
Yeah, the Dene makes a lot of sense.
In a quick look for his deck, and look at that, he's playing also the one copy of the Lysandre Labs, very helpful in the ADP Zacian matchup.
Yep.
Since it goes over the pan.
Yeah, and Masato playing really fast, so having lost a few seconds off his clock probably won't hurt him too much in the long run.
So I don't think so.
Yeah, and now he did find his Victini again, however, no Welder for him. Now he's debating on whether he wants to go for the Victini or if he maybe wants to search a Jirachi, but it looks like he will just keep that quick ball for the next turn to maybe get something like another Dedenne and is just going for the spreading flames.
I really like this philosophy of play. He demonstrated it also before, how he decided to, just go for the safe play, just go and set up, and he decides actually to attach the energies to the one energy to the Victini, one energy to the Blacephalon. So he's eyeing up either a one shot with the Blacephalon if he finds a welder, or otherwise just some chip away damage with the Victini. So excellent play here.
Yep. And already looking pretty decent. However, he didn't get the explosive start he would have wished for. There's no will picks on his bench. He wasn't able to attack on first turn with Heatran, and he didn't get a welder, so it's not looking as strong. And on the other hand, Mario was able to find a Malama already, so it's already looking much better for Mario.
Did find a supporter, luckily.
Yes.
So we have a game this time. And let's see what he goes for here. He has also that big charm putting the Mewtwo and Mew to 300 in HP. So I actually decides to go for that. And I really like this play. I think he needs to match the aggression that his opponent is putting up now. So yes, let's see. Actually, he decides even on Naganadel. Perfect. Can draw even more cards or one-shot that Oricorio.
Yep.
In some turns or later.
And yeah, now it will be interesting to see if he can, or what he goes for.
Switch, and he has the Dene. Let's see what he discards. I think there was a Gengar and Mimikyu in between those cards.
Yeah, Gengar and Mimikyu in the early turns is always powerful, just to make your opponent draw a lot of trainers, and also to set up yourself, because it forces both players to draw cards. Yeah, Powerhouse for 2 forces both players to draw until they have 7 cards, of course, and that's an amazing use for it, because you set up yourself, and then your opponent also has to draw cards and will be vulnerable to Poltergeist.
To go for the 150 damage with the Poltergeist, so he has also now perfect information except for 1 card on the opponent's hand. I think this is the right play right now. Doing damage obviously on these V Pokemons that are hard to take down is a start, especially considering he plays that Blacephalon, which might be able to finish off this Victini. So I really like this play. Let's see where he goes from here. At the same time, I think that's the last remaining switch in Masato's hand.
Yeah, he did discard 1 in his first turn and then 2 now, so yeah, that's certainly painful, and Mario's probably pretty happy about having saved this GX attack now, because that means that he will have Pale Moon available, and once Masato uses that last switch, he knows that this Pale Moon can be a big game swinger.
And there we go. He's not even able to respond with one shot. He didn't find a welder of that Dedenne nor energies. And that Cotic Well also bounced one of it. He could not play the Giant Harp this turn to get more energies in play. So overall, it actually is looking really good right now for Mario, but he needs to keep up the pressure. He needs to keep up the setup and probably be able to knock out this Victini and the Pokemon that follows after.
Yeah, and also the board for Masato is really awkward right now. He doesn't have a Jirachi or Vulpix, and instead he has a lot of GX Pokemon that don't do too much right now. Oricorio might be a big help soon, especially since his opponent is focusing on Nightwatch, but maybe he will have to forego Ninetales in this matchup, in this current game.
Indeed. He has access to that Oricorio overall, so Nightwatch might be, it's always annoying to have 2 cards removed from your hand, but as long as you have that Oricorio in the bench, you might be able to just follow up every turn with enough cards to respond to your opponent's Mewtwo and Mews. There we go, 1 more Mewtwo and Mew. I think Mario knows that he needs to set up the second one, because the active one is not so long for this world.
Yep. And a Mani here, so we will definitely see a Nightwatch, and putting Masato to just 2 cards, and
even a Chaotic Swell.
Yeah, the Swell is huge. It's one of the most powerful cards against Welder decks, because they're just so reliant on Giant Half to find their energies consistently. And Masato was able to kick the first one with just his Lysander Lab, which doesn't hurt him much, but now the second one could become a bigger problem.
Indeed. The only issue on Mario's board right now, which looks perfectly set up, is that he needs a way to retreat. You know, it's always nice to have a pivotal point when you're playing Malamar. He lacks that at the
Mm-hmm.
moment. He does not play any Jirachi as well, so
Yeah.
he does not have that option.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Nice
If
watch. Shuffling back the skateboard and probably the two least important card. And
Yeah, as soon as he's able to find an air balloon, Mario will be perfectly set up. Meanwhile, Masato's struggling a lot to get going, and finally finds an welder and an energy, but only one energy
exactly,
won't do.
that hurts to see. Well, honestly, he could take the knockout in this way with the
Yeah,
Blacephalon, but instead decide to go on the
yeah, he
Heat
can
Run.
go. He can take the knockout with Heatrans, GX attack
Yeah,
as
but
well.
yeah.
Unfortunately, the Giant Charm forces him to use his GX attack if he wants to take the knockout. So it will be harder for him to find the one-shot knockouts afterwards.
Exactly. There we go. That's a Codex well gone. Sacrificing, unfortunately, the Heat Factory, one of the best stadiums that we ever seen printed. And yeah, this Oricori will just hit the bench, and I think we'll see a Burning Road moving that single energy from the Blacephalon. So obviously it's a bit more grindy for Mario, I think. He's correctly doing this Jax here, Masato. But obviously Mario has to draw, basically, he has to take 3 knockouts, while instead Masato can just take 2.
Yeah, I think if Mario's able to find a reset stamp, then a Pale Moon would be a really good play right now. Knowing that Masato's already down 3 switches, he could just stamp his opponent to 3, use Pale Moon, know that his opponent does not have access to Stellar Wish, Oricoria, or Dedenne, so no draw other than Welder, and
Exactly.
would have to find a single switch out of 33 cards, which seems extremely unlikely. And yeah, if he doesn't get that switch, then it would be the game. However, what you can also do is just go for the knockout immediately.
That's a fair point as well. You remove 3 energies from the board. It's very unlikely that the opponent one-shots you. I think his only outer now is Victini Prism. In order to knock him out. In fact, we see the 230 damage from the Sol Galeo and Lunala, which means that Pokemon can actually not attack next turn, so we'll need a way to retreat.
Yeah, the thing I would have liked about Pale Moon is that now technically Victini Prism Star can take a knockout. And otherwise there would have been no threatening Pokemon at all on the board for Masato, and probably the Heatran would have gotten knocked out by Pale Moon, and then he could have just sniped for his last prizes. And there we see the single reset stem coming out for Masato. Perhaps getting him a comeback here, but yeah, disrupting his opponent won't do too much. What he needs,
Indeed.
Yeah, what he needs is a one-shot.
And actually, I need to correct myself. Cosmic Burn from Sol Galeo Lunala just says this Pokemon cannot use Cosmic Burn next turn, so he can still use all the other attacks that he's available.
Yeah, actually one interesting play that he could go for if he's not able to find enough energies for Victini Prism Star, which seems very unlikely, is just to go for Bursting Burn.
Yep, that's an excellent play, I think. Bursting Burn sometimes just flips game over.
Yeah, it might be the only thing he can go for. Other than that,
It's up a Cramorant, but yeah, the Cramorant would have been helpful if some chip away damage would have been done to this Mewtwo. But this Mewtwo is still clean off, so yeah, it's looking quite dicey from here. And let's remember also that Mario still has this GX available to him.
Yep.
So Stellar Wish, let's see what he grabs. He does find a Welder if he would like. But is that the card to get at this point? The answer is yes, because you're playing Welder Box. It's the only card you need to get.
Yeah, it's always the first step. Without Welder, you're not getting anywhere anyways.
You're playing a roulette deck. If he draws the Welder, then you win. But there we go. That's the Pokemon Communication. Shuffling back to the Jirachi doesn't really need that. And we set up actually a Vulpix here.
Yeah, so I guess going for Bursting Burn, setting up Ninetales, and then going for the one-shot with Blacephalon with the next turn is probably the best play that Masato has available to him.
I agree. He has very few resources at this current state of the board. So yeah, he's just thinning out his deck, removing those energies thanks to the Giant Hearth. And we'll just see probably a Bursting Burn this turn. And hopefully Mario does have an answer. So we go to a game 3 and we still have the chance to spectate this wonderful series of games.
Yep, a single switch would do it at this point, and
So
yeah,
yes,
thanks.
Japanese players have this thing with the notices from PTCGO saying, "Hey, listen, you can't do that or that or this." But
Yeah.
I don't know why they're turning them off.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
really. I was about to say I'm really glad that Masato clicked the checkbox to not show this notification again, because we've had Shintaro a lot on stream and he never ticks that box. So every time he does anything, there's
Yeah.
this pop up of
Oh, there it is. There's the switch. He
oh,
top
and
decked the.
yeah,
I mean, he found in those free cards the Professor Research. So that will be another Cosmic Burn or even a Venom Shot. Anything he likes to take these last two prizes. So props to Mario. Played really well this game. Finally was able to set up and show up the strength of this deck.
yep.
So yeah, we'll go to a game 3. What do you think overall? Who do you think has been more dominating this series? Or dominating?
Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty convincing win for Mario in game 2, but I think that Masato put on a really good struggle. His board was a bit awkward, so I'm not 100% sure about benching so much stuff in the early game. Maybe he could have just discarded his Blacephalon. Maybe he could.
Yes, it was. We saw the Malamar actually was pretty scary once he set up. It was. It looked like those Mewtwo Mew were very hard to knock out and put up so much pressure thanks to that Night Watch.
Yeah,
Card
but
advantage is so important right now.
yeah, but I think the reason might have been that his board was so clunked up, and also he didn't find it well in the early game. And I think Masato put on a really good fight. He was really close to winning this. If Mario would have not found the switch, then he would have had to go for the flip, and of course he could have still flipped heads on confusion. But
Yep.
yeah, it always feels like you have to find that switch or you lose. And then in the next turn, Masato would have been very likely to just close out the game. So his bursting burn and his reset stamp were able to put him into a decent position even after falling behind that much. And if he had a better board, wasn't forced to put down so much stuff in the early game, wasn't forced to use that many Dedenne, he maybe could have also gotten the knockout with
Exactly.
Victini.
Also,
Yeah.
he should have needed Welder the turn after for knocking out with a Blacephalon GX, but obviously the Mewtwo player was found the switch, so in the end it didn't work out. Well, look at his hand. 3 quick ball, 2 Welders. It's a mulligan.
Yep.
Well, instead, I think he's going first. Just talking about that. So we'll actually see, this is the first time that the Welder deck will go first. Wow, 3 quick balls again.
Yeah, and this hand is not. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's also not too bad.
It's good, I think, actually. 3 quick balls, they're going first. You can even go for a Hazardous Jirachi if you really would like. But there we go, Giant Hearth. 2 more cards in end that will be probably discarded with this quick ball.
Yep. Yeah.
There we go, let's see what he goes for. Even started with Vulpix, so we might even see a Ninetales coming down this turn.
So
Or, coming down this game.
seems like Victini V is his early game attacker of the choice.
Yep.
So go defaulting for that right away. And now he can probably go for another quick ball. And we will see what he opts to discard with that.
Decides to attach the energy to Victini.
Or maybe he wants to just keep them.
Yeah, it's interesting. He goes for a switch, putting the Victini on the active. I don't think there was any way for the Malamar to knock him out on turn 1,
Yeah,
but he's probably scared of the Horror House
Exactly.
Jets, maybe?
Yeah, he's probably preparing for Horror House, just making sure that he can attack even if his opponent Horror Houses and that he can use the time properly.
Very well played here from Masato, already thinking ahead and preparing for the opponent for the opponent response to his play. There we go, starting with an Inca instead from Mario's side. Touches around into the Mewtwo and Mew, and even a Chaotic Swell. We saw how massively important this card is in this matchup.
Yeah, Chaotic Swell is just a huge card in this matchup.
Ooh,
Slowing it.
reset stamps.
And yeah, Mario plays 2 Chaotix well, so quite impressive that he's able to find them so consistently early on. And being able to do so has just a huge impact on those games.
Exactly, and they're so impactful as well. We saw it in the game before. We see it now, discarding that giant turf, which have generated an infinite supply of fire energies for Masato. But here we go. There's the first turn. Will he go for a Horror House GX? Does he weigh away to discard, or will he just bench this Gengar Mimic if he wants to go down that road? Instead, just passes. Interesting. Would you have done the same, Philip?
Um, yeah, I mean, valuing the GX attack makes sense. Um, Maybe his hand is also not too great, so he wants to save the Horror House for 2. It's definitely an understandable choice.
Yes, so we saw actually the Chaotix well removed the giant turf, and Masato was relying on that to, to draw the fire energy to attach them with Welder, but unfortunately it was removed, so he just had to Welder for 1, which is always a heartbreak, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's eyeing up at the
Masato.
Dene. He already has 1 in hand, so what is he actually looking for right now?
Yeah, I guess he wants just anything to use communication on and then get a Ninetales maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely plausible. This would mean that if he's able to connect all of the, if he just finds 2 fire energies, actually, he will be able to take down that Inkay in the bench.
Yeah.
Striking at the heart of Mario's deck.
For sure. And we
That's
see,
okay,
oh
there
yeah,
we go.
plenty of energies. And also not a lot of other trainers, which is pretty good for him. It means that he will not get knocked out by a Poltergeist very easily.
There we go, 9 Temptation, and this Ninetales is surely sticking around for some turns. It's we know that Mario does not play any gust effects. He just plays the sniping possibilities. And considering this Malamar is getting knocked out, the energy attachment for Mario will be very, very slow.
Yep.
There's the energy burst, 90 damage, squishing the squid, frying the squid.
And getting an energy out of a prize is also a perfect card for him. Now with Victini, now he can use even more 9 Temptation, or he can power up the Victini even further. So great
This
find, and
Victini
also
does not have a cap of damage.
Yep.
It can just do as much damage as it likes. And as long as the Mewtwo and Mew, which requires a lot of energy attachment, will continue to get energies on it, the damage will just pile up. I think it can even one-shot him next turn.
Yeah, no, I don't think he can.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think
he
it falls
only,
short.
yeah, yeah, he's 1 energy short, but he can just continue targeting in case, and now that he only has 2 trainers in his hand, means that he will definitely not be knocked out by Poltergeist, which is all he needs, I think, because he already knocked out 1 Inkay, and he knows that Mario's only playing 2 and 1 Ditto, so if he's able to take out 1 more, then Mario will be severely crippled for the rest of the game.
Indeed, indeed. And look at his bench space. There's already 2 Dedanes in there. Find an Inkay, but will it stick around, or will it just succumb to the Ninetales 9 Temptation ability? See how much pressure this continuous gusts from the Ninetales are able to put up on Mario's deck. We see the Poltergeist, but just 100 damage. Boy, oh boy. I think also Masato needs to start thinking about later, as in this Victini will probably get knocked out next turn, unless the Poltergeist just whiffs completely, or it doesn't have another energy. So he needs to start deciding what he wants to go for here. And in fact, there we go. There's the energy on the Ninetales in the bench, just saving them up maybe for a Heatran or something else.
Yep. Yeah, or Turtonator or something. Energies in the bench always make a lot of sense here, especially since this Victini will probably get knocked out soon anyways.
And he's taking no breaks, just another Dedenne after Dedenne, accelerating.
Yeah, however, not able to find energies to use 9 Temptations, so he will not be able to target down another Inkay. And
That's right.
Yeah, and this might allow Mario to get back into the game.
And do you think this was an oversight, or is this what he was planning for?
I mean, it's probably still fine, right? He he can damage with Mewtwo, and then he can most likely take a knockout next turn. I think it's
Mhm.
interesting that he didn't bench a Jirachi, but
Yeah, exactly, right? I was thinking about that. He does have a switch in hand, but it would have made more sense, I guess, to just bench the Jirachi and promote him once this Victini gets knocked out.
yeah, I
Maybe
was
he's
thinking the
wary of
same.
putting three single prizers on the bench, but I don't know. Maybe a slight oversight. Maybe he was upset that he didn't find the energies. It could have been a million things, literally.
Yeah, I don't know. He probably values this bench space, knowing that last game it got a bit awkward for him. So maybe he's thinking that he rather wants something like Oricorio Jigs on the bench, so he's saving the space. I don't know. We will see.
Let's see. Oh, Marnie hitting two energies for Masato. And there's even a big charm. This might be quite relevant. I didn't have a chance to look how many energies are in the discard
I
from
think it's
side.
around 4, but I'm not
Yes, I think
100%
so as well.
sure.
But there we go. That's the Night Watch. That's the beginning of the nightmare. Masato needs to be able to find a response to this. Otherwise, his hand will always get smaller and smaller until eventually this Mewtwo and Mew might be able to run away with the game.
So
When there are 7
yes,
energy, it's going to do 140 damage.
yeah. So
Fall
yeah.
short for 10.
But yeah, he can just. I was about to say he can. So will probably just promote the 9 hits and then retreat it.
Yeah, he just retreated. Lucky for him, that's a Poke Gear. Let's see if there's a Welder. We know one was at the bottom, but there it is. That's the other Welder left in the deck.
Yep. No.
Now it's an interesting choice whether he wants to go for the Welder on here, but I don't think there's any point in for not doing it, considering there will not be a Night Watch next turn.
No, I think there's not. Yeah, I think there's not much reason not to do it. You just want to draw through your deck and set up yourself further. And accelerating the energy on the 9 tails, I guess reasonable enough.
Yeah, you can always do 90 damage, maybe take away that Malamar and completely cripple Mario's play. There we go, that's the Infinity Attack, shuffling back those 8 energies that were in the discard and knocking out the Mewtwo and Mew.
Yep.
Additionally, he also drew the Lysandre Lab, so it would have been fine even if he didn't have that extra energy.
Yep, and now he's leaving Mario without anything on the board, really. It's just those 2D Dennis that aren't doing anything, and the one Inkay, so... I mean, he can still get the knockout if he gets a Malamar and uses Poltergeist, but yeah, knowing that Masato played his hand down quite considerably, he might be... he might be anxious to do that because he doesn't know if... if there will be 2 trainers in there. And now attachment to Latios.
So the Lysandre Labs is really crippling Mario, I think. He cannot use that air balloon, and in fact, he's just obliged to
Yeah,
pass.
I'm pretty sure that's the
Horrifying.
game. He can just search out
Yes.
Cramorant, get 4 energies, and charge up his
Yep.
Cramorant. So unless that is...
A Blacephalon even close the game. I think there are a million ways for him to win the game right now. So, but he for sure has the energies in the...
he
deck.
goes for the quick ball first. Interesting. I think if he had... Yeah, if he had done the other way, it would have been...
That's a bit of a misplay, actually.
Yeah.
I think he's just going for the Dana here, but that's not good. Oh, I think he realized
okay, no, I
it.
guess now this is fine as well. He can still retreat and then accelerate and move all the energies to Heatran, and he gets to 4
yes,
energies.
you're right.
Yeah, and he can still take the game with Hot Burn.
So yeah, there were many ways to do this, I think. So I think we will see the Masato just moving on to top 4. Congratulations to him. Mario was a very valiant opponent. And yes, we saw that both decks played out with each other very well.
Yep. However, in the end, Masato was just able to be more consistent and to take the game of his opponent, to just stomp it, to just aggressively go in the lead and keep attacking. And yeah, Mario just wasn't able to bounce back fast enough. However, we do see... it was still a decent match. We had some interesting games. Of course, they were somewhat one-sided eventually. But, well, that's how it sometimes goes, especially when facing a really aggressive archetype.
Of course. And we saw, again, the variance that Malamar brings to the table. When it's set up in Game 2, it looked like an unsurmountable wall. While instead, in Game 1 and 3, it was quite slow. The opponent was able to mess with their opponent's setup. So, in the end, it shows that Malamar still has some lacks. And maybe next set something will come out to help it out, but I don't really see that going.
Yep, and now we can have a quick look at the bracket. We see that Pavel Nehal from Russia, with his abilities art deck, took out Axel Alvarez, so the last ADP deck also fell and lost in top 8. And we see that Masato, of course, defeated Mario, just as we've watched on stream. So both abilities art decks, both Welder decks, of course Masato's not playing Regizard, so abilities art, yeah, it's not really appropriate anymore. But yeah, both Welder decks moving on to top 4, and it seems like Welder has once again entering the tier 1 that it has been, yeah, so used to, but lately falling out of. On the other hand, both games between the Mill players and the Malamar players are still going, and so we don't know what's the status in there yet. However, however, from my experience, that's usually a good sign for the Mill players, because they are the ones that win the long games, and they are the ones that lose really quickly if they face counters.
But let's remember also that I think I'm not sure, considering this the specific rules for this tournament, that Mill players, when they go to game 3, they will probably be lower in prizes, and if time is called at that point, they will just lose. There's one thing to consider, because in best of 1, Mill has proven itself to be very successful. But maybe best of 3 actually is not as successful, and that might explain why, for example, in Malmo it wasn't as popular. What do you think?
Yeah, but it might be a reason. But I think usually, I'm not sure. I think Control usually is pretty good in best of 3 as well, as long. I mean, in Top Cut it can get a bit dicey sometimes if you lose one game, and then if it takes some time, you can just go to time. But I think oftentimes, especially here on PTCGO, where both players are actively encouraged by the program to play fast, and they have 60 minutes, which is more than... I mean, European regionals are played with 60 minutes in Top Cut, and it takes much, much longer when you're playing with real cards as compared to PTCGO. So I think the time should not be the biggest issue for the Mill players here.
I agree. Right, I think we will cut to a short break, is that correct?
Yep, we will go to a quick advertisement video of our sponsors. Thanks to those for making this possible, and then we will hopefully be back shortly with the next round of the Top Cup.